With the literature review, you're reading the articles and you are then paraphrasing. And that simply means you are putting that information into your own words. There is a difference in paraphrasing and summarizing, and that difference is strictly the length of your writing. When you paraphrase an article, you have read that article, you're rewriting that information into your own words, and the end result will be approximately the same length as the original article that you read. Most of you have articles that are probably 8 pages or more, and you certainly would not want to write a literature review paraphrasing 5 articles. And if each of those articles averaged 8 pages, you would be ending up having to write a 40-page paper. That's not what you want to do. And that's why you need to summarize the articles. And a summary is a much more condensed version of the original piece. In social work, we use APA style. The American Psychological Association of writing is what we're doing, the style that we're using. We are in the helping profession, and most helping professionals utilize APA style. If you were a journalism major, you would be using MLA style, or you may be using Chicago style. There are a lot of different writing styles that are available, but in social work, we strictly focus on APA. There is specific formatting that is affiliated with APA style, and that's what I want to talk to you a little bit about. I am referring to a sample paper, and I'm just going to point out some of the main pieces pertaining to APA style in regards to a literature review. First of all, the font is important. You are using Times New Roman 12-point font. Okay? All of your pages are numbered in the upper right-hand margin of each page. You will consecutively number your pages. Each page contains a running head. That is typically a condensed version of the title of your paper. Sometimes it may be limited strictly to the subject that you're writing about. You cannot have any more than 50 characters, 50 characters or spaces, punctuation, within the running head itself. So, be very careful with that. On the first page of your document is the only time that you will have the actual words running head in your document. So, on page 1, which is your title page, you begin in the far left margin with the wording running head colon, punctuation colon. And only the R is capitalized, the R in running. So it's capital R, running head, colon, and then you space, and then in all caps, you put the actual running head of your paper, okay, whichever running head you've chosen. Again, remember, if the title of your paper is longer than 50 characters or spaces, then you need to condense that. On your title page itself, centered in on the page will be the title of your paper. You will be capitalizing the most of the nouns in, and a verb in the title of your paper. Typically, your conjunctions, your prepositions, typically those are in lowercase. The double space under that is your name, again, centered on the page. And then directly under that, Northwestern State University. You may choose to put Northwestern State University of Louisiana if you would like. But amazingly, I've seen students actually use different names for Northwestern, and we don't want to do that. But we are spelling out Northwestern State University. The second page of your document is the abstract. And the abstract is the highlights from your paper. It's actually the piece that is created last. It's what your reader will read first, but it's what the writer creates last, because the writer will create the literature review, the body of the work, and then go back and select the information that they feel is most important, and they will transfer that information into the abstract. The abstract is unique in that it is one paragraph and you do not indent the paragraph. There's a flush left margin that you use. Again, throughout this document, you're using the same font, you're using the same format, as in double spacing. Beginning on page 3, you have the body of your work. Sometimes your document may be 3 pages, sometimes your document may be 12 pages. It could be more than that. And when I say document, I mean the body of your work, which is the actual literature review. It starts on page 3, and usually for this class, it's pages 3, 4, 5, sometimes 6, sometimes 7. Again, the document font and formatting remains the same. Times New Roman 12-point font, double spacing. You have a jagged right margin. Do not try to justify the right margin to make it nice and pretty and flush. That's not what we need. We need 1-inch margins, right, left, top, and bottom. In the body of the work, almost every sentence will have a citation. And the reason for that is the body of your work is your interpretation of what you read from the articles. And you are always giving the authors of the articles credit for their work in the form of the citation. This was not your original idea, this information that you gathered or garnered from these articles. This is information that the authors penned or discovered, or they may have paraphrased it from another author. But you are always giving credit in almost every sentence to the original authors. The only time that you don't give credit is when you have created a transitional sentence, a sentence that ties one body of work or one paragraph to another. It links it. It makes the flow smoother. But for what you're doing in this class, almost every sentence needs to be cited. A citation typically includes the author's last names and the date of publication. Now, sometimes that will vary, but typically that's the information that you're providing. If it's a direct quote, and for this assignment I do require you to have a direct quote of no more than 20 words. And for a direct quote, you are literally lifting information directly from the article word for word, putting quotation marks around it. Include in your citation the page number or page numbers where that information came from.